The scent hits me first, a cataclysm of pine and ozone and raw power that slices through the cloying sweetness of the great hall's ceremonial incense. It is a scent that promises dominance and safety in the same breath, a scent my very bones recognize before my mind can catch up. My breath catches, my heart stutters. Deep within the quietest part of me, a creature that has been sleeping for all my 17 years stirs, stretches a single claw, and whispers a word I have only ever read in books. Mate. Hope, terrifying and brilliant, floods my senses. For the first time, the world feels sharp and real, pulled into focus by this one impossible truth. I am Alara, an Omega of the Stonefang Pack, and I am nothing. My wolf is a dormant, silent thing, a hollow space where the wildness of my people should be. In a world where strength is everything, I am a whisper of a person, easily overlooked, easily dismissed. I keep my eyes downcast as I stand in the line of unmated she-wolves, my drab gray dress a stark contrast to the vibrant silks and confident smiles of the others. We are being presented to the Alpha King, Kalen of the Ashen Throne, a ruler so powerful his name is spoken with reverence even in the farthest corners of the territories. They say his presence can force a lesser wolf to their knees. They say his eyes can see the truth of your soul. He moves down the line, a predator in gilded armor. His steps are silent, his presence a physical weight in the air. With each wolf he passes, there is a collective sigh of disappointment from the pack elders. He is looking for his fated mate, the one Luna who can anchor his immense power and secure the future of our kind. He dismisses a fiery-haired beta with a flick of his fingers, his expression unreadable. He passes the daughter of Alpha Grayson, a beauty known for her ferocity, without a second glance. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage of bone. He is getting closer. The scent of him, that intoxicating storm, grows stronger, pulling at the dormant thing inside me until it aches. Then, he is in front of me. The world narrows to the space between us. His head, which had been held high with an air of regal boredom, snaps towards me. His nostrils flare. I risk a glance up just for a second, and my world tilts. His eyes are the color of molten gold, and they are fixed on me with a shocking intensity. The air crackles with unseen energy. The dormant creature inside me howls, a silent scream of recognition that echoes through my soul. Ours. The word is a brand, a promise, a certainty. I can feel the invisible thread of the mate bond snapping taut between us, a vibrant, living thing. This is it, the moment that changes everything. I, the wolfless Omega, am the fated mate of the Alpha King. He takes a step closer, and the scent of him is overwhelming. I can smell the rain on his cloak, the leather of his gloves, the faint, metallic tang of old power. I feel a pull, a desperate need to be closer, to press my face into his chest and breathe him in until he is all that exists. His expression is not one of joy or even surprise. It is one of dawning horror. His lip curls, a faint, almost imperceptible sneer. You? His voice is a low growl, laced with disbelief and something colder, contempt. The single word is a physical blow. The hope that had bloomed so brightly in my chest withers and dies, turning to ash. The pack elders murmur behind me. I can feel their eyes, their confusion turning to scorn. Why me? The weak one, the flawed one. King Kalen looks me up and down, his gaze lingering on my simple dress, my trembling hands. He sees not his fated Luna, but a liability. a weakness. "There has been a mistake," he says, his voice loud enough for the entire hall to hear. Each word is a perfectly sharpened stone aimed at my heart. The moon goddess would not curse me with such a pathetic mate. Pain, white hot and absolute, rips through me. It is not just shame, not just humiliation. It is the tearing of that brand new bond. It feels like my soul is being flayed open. My wolf, which had just begun to wake, whimpers and retreats, burying itself so deep I fear I will never feel it again. The scent of pine and ozone is now choked with the bitter stench of rejection. "I, Kalen of the Ashen Throne," he proclaims, his voice ringing with the cold finality of a death sentence, "reject this bond. I reject her as my mate and Luna." He turns his back on me, a deliberate final act of dismissal. The collective gasp of the hall is a tidal wave of sound that threatens to drown me. A public rejection. It is the ultimate shame, a stain that can never be washed away. My legs give out. I crumple to the stone floor, the sound of my own choked sob lost in the rising tide of whispers. The pain is a living thing inside me, a clawed beast shredding me from the inside out. I am no longer Ilara of the Stone Fang Pack. I am the rejected, the unwanted. And in that moment, under the weight of 1,000 scornful eyes and the crushing agony of a shattered soul, my life as I know it ends. I am cast out not just from the hall, but from my pack, my home, my entire identity. The guards drag me to my feet, their touch rough, their faces devoid of pity. I am taken to the gates of the territory and thrown out into the dust of the unclaimed lands, left with nothing but the tattered shreds of my dress and the unending physical ache of a bond that was born and broken in the same instant. The first few weeks are a blur of pain and hunger. The unclaimed lands are a harsh, unforgiving place of scrub brush and wind-bitten rock. The ache in my chest is a constant companion, a hollow throb where the bond should be. It is a phantom limb, a missing piece of my soul that screams its absence with every breath I take. At night, I curl into a ball, shivering not from the cold, but from the profound, cellular loneliness. My dormant wolf offers no comfort, no warmth. It is as if Kalen's rejection poisoned the very well of my inner strength. I survive on what I can scavenge: bitter roots, tough-skinned berries. I learn the patterns of the rabbits and set clumsy snares, more often failing than succeeding. Every waking moment is a struggle, a fight against the despair that threatens to swallow me whole. It would be so easy to just lie down, to let the sun and the dust claim me, to simply stop. But something inside me, a stubborn tiny spark of defiance, refuses to be extinguished. He called me pathetic. He cast me aside like trash. I will not prove him right. The thought is a small, hard stone in the pit of my stomach. I will live. I will survive this. It becomes my mantra, whispered into the lonely darkness. Months bleed into one another. The sharp, tearing agony of the rejection dulls into a chronic, deep-seated ache. I drift from place to place, a ghost haunting the edges of civilization. I eventually find my way to a small, forgotten town called Dust Haven, huddled at the very edge of the territories. It is a place for outcasts and exiles, a collection of ramshackle buildings clinging to a dried-up riverbed. No one here asks questions. Everyone has a past they are running from. Here, my status as a rejected Omega means little. I am just another soul trying to make it to the next sunrise. I find work washing dishes in a grimy tavern for a few copper coins and a bowl of thin stew each day. The labor is grueling, my hands perpetually raw and chapped, but it is honest. It keeps me from starving. My world shrinks to the scent of stale ale, greasy plates, and the lye soap that burns my skin. I build a wall around my heart, brick by painful brick. I do not speak unless necessary. I do not meet anyone's eyes. I am a shadow, and in the shadows, I am safe. One day, nearly a year after my exile, a wave of pain so intense it brings me to my knees washes over me. It radiates from the broken bond in my chest, a violent, searing pulse. It feels like the bond is being not just torn, but poisoned. I gasp, clutching my sternum as the tavern spins around me. It is his pain, Kalen's. I can feel it as surely as if it were my own. It is a spike of agony, followed by a terrifying, echoing emptiness. The connection, which had been a constant dull throb, flickers and goes dark, leaving a void colder and more absolute than anything I have ever felt. For a horrifying moment, I think he is dead. The thought should bring relief or even satisfaction. Instead, it carves another hole in my already shattered soul. The pain subsides, but the void remains. The phantom limb is gone, replaced by a true and total amputation. The last, frayed thread connecting me to the Alpha King has been severed. I am truly, completely alone. That night, something shifts within me. The space that had been occupied by the constant, low-grade pain of the bond is now empty. And into that emptiness, something new begins to grow. My dormant wolf, the silent passenger in my soul, stirs. It is not the joyful awakening I felt in the Great Hall. This is a slow, pained unfurling, like a frost-bitten flower daring to bloom in winter. It is weak, but it is there. Survive, it whispers, its voice a faint echo of my own mantra. From that day on, I begin to change. I start running before dawn, pushing my body past the point of exhaustion. The physical exertion helps to quiet the noise in my head. I feel a new strength flowing into my limbs, a resilience I never possessed. The dormant wolf within me seems to feed on my struggle, growing stronger with every mile I run, with every hardship I endure. The tiny spark of defiance becomes a steady flame. I am not pathetic. I am a survivor. 2 more years pass. Dust Haven remains my home. I am no longer a dishwasher. I save my meager earnings and buy a small, one-room shack at the edge of town. I learn to hunt properly, my senses sharpening in a way that feels distinctly wolf-like. I can track game by scent, hear the snap of a twig from 100 paces. My wolf is not fully awake, not in the way that allows a shift, but her senses are my senses. Her strength is becoming my strength. I am still an outcast, still alone, but I am no longer weak. I have forged myself into something new in the crucible of my suffering. It is on a cold, windswept morning, 3 years to the day of my rejection, that I first see him. He is a beggar, huddled in the alleyway I pass on my way to the market. He is wrapped in filthy rags, his face obscured by a dirty hood and a tangle of matted dark hair. A strip of cloth is tied over his eyes. He is blind. Something about him, a scent beneath the grime and despair, snags my attention. It is faint, almost undetectable, but it is there. Pine and old grief. It reminds me of the forest after a storm, a scent that is both sad and beautiful. A pang of pity, an emotion I've not allowed myself to feel for a long time, stirs in my chest. I have so little, but this man has nothing. I stop, my worn leather pouch feeling heavy in my hand. Inside is a single copper coin, my entire earnings from selling a few rabbit pelts. It is meant for my dinner. I hesitate for only a moment. I know what it is to have nothing, to be invisible. I reach into my pouch, my calloused fingers closing around the small, cool disc of metal. I crouch down in front of him. Here, I say, my voice rough from disuse. I press the coin into his hand. His fingers are long and elegant, but they are caked with dirt and trembling from the cold. His hand flinches at my touch, then grasps the coin with a desperate strength. He does not speak. He only inclines his head, a gesture that holds a strange, broken sort of dignity. I stand and walk away without a second glance, the feeling of his cold skin against mine lingering. That night, I eat a thinner stew than usual, but my heart feels a little less empty. The next day, I see him again in the same spot. And again, I give him my only coin. It becomes a ritual. Every morning, I give my last coin to the blind beggar in the alley. It is a small act, a quiet rebellion against the cruelty of a world that once left me with nothing. I do it for him, but I also do it for the girl I used to be, the one who crumpled to the floor in a grand hall, utterly alone. I do it because I know what it is to be discarded, and I refuse to let another soul feel that same invisibility, even for a moment. I have no idea that the man I am showing this small kindness to is the same one who showed me the greatest cruelty. I do not know that I am tending to the source of my own wound. My world is a tapestry of blackness, woven with the threads of regret and the ghosts of sense. 3 years. 3 years since I lost my sight, my wolf, my throne. 3 years since I made the mistake that cost me everything. My name is Kalen, and I was once a king. Now, I am a beggar, a wraith, haunting an alley in a town whose name I do not even know. The memory of that day in the Great Hall is a brand on my soul. I remember her scent, wildflowers and summer rain, a fragrance that promised peace and belonging. I remember the bond snapping into place, a glorious, terrifying shock that lit up every part of my being. And I remember my own voice, cold and cruel, shattering it all. Pride, arrogance, fear. I was raised to believe that strength was the only virtue that mattered. My father, his father before him, they ruled with iron fists. A mate was a political asset, a warrior, a producer of strong heirs. When the bond chose her, the little, wolfless Omega, I panicked. She was so small, so fragile. I saw her not as my other half, but as a fatal vulnerability, a chink in my armor that my enemies would exploit. So I did the unthinkable. I rejected her. I broke the most sacred law of our kind in front of my entire court. I broke her. The immediate aftermath was a hollow triumph. I had asserted my strength, excised the weakness. But my wolf, my proud, powerful beast, turned on me. He had recognized her, loved her instantly. My rejection was a betrayal not just of her, but of him. He began to war with me, a constant, snarling presence in my mind. Wrong. You were wrong. You destroyed us. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. The scent of wildflowers and rain haunted my dreams. I tried to find another mate, to force a connection with a powerful she-wolf from a neighboring pack, but it was useless. My soul was already claimed, even if I had discarded its owner. Then came the curse. Or perhaps it was justice. During a border skirmish with the shadow-touched creatures that had begun to plague the southern forests, a sorcerer among them struck me with a blast of dark energy. It did not kill me. It did something worse. It severed the connection to my wolf and plunged my world into perpetual darkness. I was blind. The Alpha King, whose golden eyes were said to see into men's souls, could see nothing. The link to my beast, the source of my authority and power, was gone. He was no longer a snarling voice in my head, just a faint, agonizing echo. My most trusted general, Lord Vorlag, saw his opportunity. He declared me unfit, cursed, a liability to the kingdom. He who had sworn fealty, who I had called brother. He staged a coup, and my own royal guard, seeing only a blind, weakened man, stood aside. They did not kill me. Vorlag wanted the people to believe I had simply vanished, taken by the curse. I was smuggled out of the capital in the dead of night and abandoned in the unclaimed lands, the same fate I had forced upon her. The irony was a bitter poison. Now my days are defined by the gnawing ache of hunger and the rough texture of the wall at my back. My senses, once preternaturally sharp, are dull and broken. All except one. My sense of smell, though weakened, is all I have left to navigate this lightless world. It is a torment. Every passing stranger is a cacophony of unfamiliar scents. Until her. The first time she approached, I knew. Through the grime and the misery, that scent of wildflowers and rain cut through the darkness like a sunbeam. It was her, Ilara, my rejected mate, my ruined Luna. My heart, a dead thing in my chest, gave a single, painful lurch. She was here, alive. The bond, which I thought had been destroyed, flared with a ghostly, one-sided life. It was a current of pure agony, a reminder of all I had lost, of the perfect thing I had willfully broken. She crouched before me. I could feel the warmth of her body, smell the clean, earthy scent of the wind in her hair. She said one word, "Here." Her voice was not the timid whisper I remembered. It was stronger, deeper, edged with a hardness I did not recognize. She pressed a coin into my hand. Her touch was fire. It was lightning. It was the memory of home. I flinched, not from fear, but from the sheer, overwhelming shock of it. I wanted to grab her hand, to pull her close and bury my face in her hair, to tell her everything, to beg for a forgiveness I did not deserve. But what could I say? "Hello? It is I, the king who destroyed your life. I am blind and broken now. Pity me?" The words died in my throat, choked by a shame so profound it was a physical weight. So I said nothing. I just took the coin, my fingers trembling, and listened to the sound of her footsteps walking away, the sound of my salvation leaving me in the dark. And she came back. The next day, and the next. Every morning, she gives me a coin. I have learned to listen for the soft tread of her worn boots, to anticipate the moment her scent will slice through the gloom. This small daily act of kindness from the woman I wronged so grievously is a torture more exquisite than any I have ever known. She is giving her last coin to the man who took everything from her. She doesn't know. She sees a blind beggar, an object of pity. She has no idea she is looking at her own personal monster, the architect of her ruin, and I am too much of a coward to tell her. Her pity is a gift. Her hatred, which I so richly deserve, would be more than I could bear. So I sit in my darkness, clutching her coin, and I let her believe I am a stranger. A new presence has entered my quiet life in Dusthaven. He is a healer, a beta named Liam. He runs the small apothecary near the market, his hands gentle and his eyes kind. He first spoke to me a few months ago, noticing my worn-out boots. He offered me a salve for my blistered feet, refusing any payment. He has a calming scent, like dried herbs and chamomile tea. It is a safe scent, a good scent. He treats me with a quiet respect that no one else does. Liam often brings me an extra loaf of bread or a steaming cup of broth when he closes his shop for the day. We talk sometimes. I am still guarded, but he does not push. He asks about my hunting, and I tell him about the tracks I follow. He tells me about the remedies he is mixing. He sees the strength I have built, not the weakness I came from. With him, I feel almost normal. My wolf, a quiet but constant presence now, is wary of him. She does not trust his kindness. Not mate, she growls softly in the back of my mind whenever he gets too close. I ignore her. The mate bond brought me nothing but agony. Liam offers gentle companionship. It is a balm on my scarred heart. Meanwhile, the world outside Dusthaven grows darker. Rumors travel with the few merchants who brave the journey to our forgotten town. They speak of King Vorlag's increasingly erratic rule, of crippling taxes and harsh punishments. They also speak of the shadow creatures, once a nuisance confined to the southern forests, now spreading like a plague. They are called the Umbra, beasts of living darkness that drain the life from the land and the people. They are growing bolder, attacking trade caravans and even small villages. A cold knot of dread tightens in my stomach when I hear these stories. Dust Haven lies directly in their path. My daily ritual with the blind beggar continues. It is the one constant in my life, a small anchor in the shifting tides. The scent of him, pine and grief, is strangely comforting now. It is familiar. Sometimes, when I place the coin in his hand, our fingers brush, and a strange jolt, like static electricity, sparks between us. It makes the hairs on my arms stand up. It is a flicker of the same energy I felt in the Great Hall, but muted, distorted. My wolf stirs at the sensation, a low hum of interest in her chest. Familiar, she murmurs, confused. I dismiss it. He is just a beggar. The connection I feel is pity, nothing more. One evening, Liam walks me home from the market, a small bag of fresh herbs in his hand for me. The nights are getting colder, he says, his voice soft. You should have a better cloak. He looks at me, his expression full of a warmth that makes me uncomfortable. Ilara, he hesitates. I care for you a great deal. My heart clenches. I know what he is offering. A life, a partnership, safety. It is everything I should want. Liam, you are a good man, I begin, my voice tight. Before I can finish, a scream rips through the evening air. It is followed by another and then another. Panic erupts from the center of town. The scent of fear, sharp and sour, floods the streets. Then I smell it. A scent unlike anything I have ever encountered. It is the smell of old dust, of a grave opened, of absolute nothingness. It is cold and predatory, the umbra. They are here. Instinct takes over. Get inside, I yell at Liam, pushing him towards his shop. Bar the door. My wolf is surging, a wave of protective fury rising within me. Protect. Defend. Ours. She is not talking about Liam. She is talking about this town, this place that has become my sanctuary. I pull the hunting knife from my belt and run towards the chaos. The town square is a scene from a nightmare. Shadowy creatures, vaguely wolf-like but with too many limbs and eyes that glow with a malevolent violet light, are pouring from the alleyways. They move with a horrifying, disjointed speed, their claws tearing through wood and flesh. I am not a warrior, but I am a survivor. I move with a speed and grace born of years of hardship. I duck under a sweeping claw and drive my knife into the creature's flank. It shrieks, a sound like grinding stone, and dissolves into a puff of black smoke and foul-smelling dust. Another lunges for me. I am faster. I have to be. In the middle of the fray, I see a flash of movement in the alley where the beggar sits. Two of the Umbra have cornered him. He is on his feet, his back pressed against the wall, a broken piece of a crate clutched in his hands like a club. He is blind, helpless, a fierce, possessive rage so powerful it shocks me, rips through my soul. My wolf howls. Mine. I launch myself towards the alley, a guttural cry tearing from my throat. I move faster than I ever have before, a blur of motion. I dispatch the first creature with a precise stab to what I hope is its head. The second one turns on me, its shadowy claws extended. But before it can strike, the beggar moves. He cannot see, but he seems to feel its presence. He swings the wooden plank with a desperate, wild force. It connects with the creature's side, and the Umbra stumbles. It is the opening I need. I drive my knife home, and the second creature dissolves. The alley is suddenly quiet, the sounds of the battle raging outside. I stand panting, my heart hammering. The beggar is leaning against the wall, his chest heaving. The cloth over his eyes has been torn away in the struggle, and I see them. His eyes. They are closed, scarred, but it is the shape of his face, the line of his jaw now visible under the grime, the aristocratic arch of his nose. It is him. The air leaves my lungs in a rush. The scent of pine and ozone and raw power, buried for years under layers of grief and dirt, explodes from him, unlocked by the adrenaline of the fight. It is the scent from the great hall, the scent of my rejection, the scent of my mate, the blind beggar, the man I have pitied, the man I have given my last coin to for a year. It is Kalen, the Alpha King who broke me. You, I whisper, the word tasting like venom on my tongue. My knife, still slick with shadow dust, feels heavy in my hand. The urge to press it against his throat is so strong it makes me tremble. He flinches at my voice, his head turning towards the sound of it. He doesn't have to see me to know he has been discovered. His face, already pale beneath the filth, turns ashen. The broken dignity he always carried shatters, replaced by a raw, naked shame. Ilara, he breathes, his voice a broken rasp. It is the first time I have heard him speak in 3 years. The sound of my name on his lips is not a bomb. It is a lit match dropped on gasoline. The rage I have suppressed for so long, the pain I have buried under scars and survival, erupts. How dare you? I hiss, stepping closer. The tip of my knife presses against the hollow of his throat. His skin is cold. He does not flinch away. He does not even breathe. He simply stands there, accepting the threat of my blade. He tilts his head back slightly, baring his throat to me in a gesture of complete submission. A gesture he, the Alpha King, should never make to anyone, especially not to a rejected Omega. The scent of his terror and shame is a thick, cloying fog in the alley. It does not bring me satisfaction. It just makes the knot of betrayal in my gut twist tighter. The sounds of the battle outside are fading. The remaining Umbra, their initial surprise attack thwarted, are retreating into the darkness. The townsfolk are shouting, tending to the wounded. But in this alley, time has stopped. All this time? I ask, my voice shaking with a fury so cold it burns. You sat here, in this filth, and you let me pity you? You let me give you the scraps from my table while you were the one who left me with nothing? Yes, he says, his voice raw. There are no excuses, no justifications, just the flat, dead weight of his admission. The power dynamic between us is a chasm. I am strong, whole, armed, He is blind, broken, disarmed. The Alpha King is kneeling in spirit before the Omega he threw away. My wolf is a storm inside me, a whirlwind of conflicting instincts. Hurt him, make him pay. One part screams, ours. Wounded. Protect. Another part whispers, a pained, confused echo. Why? I demand, pressing the blade just enough to sting. A single drop of blood, dark in the twilight, wells up on his skin. Why come here? Why let me touch you? He finally takes a breath, a ragged, shuddering thing. Because it was all I had left of you, he says, his voice cracking. Because your pity was a kindness I never deserved. And because every day, for a few seconds, I could smell the air you breathed. It was better than being king. His words, meant to be a confession, are a deeper kind of wound. He has been feeding on my presence like a parasite, a ghost at a feast. The knowledge is sickening. I rip the knife away, a strangled cry of disgust tearing from my throat. I would rather he had fought me, denied it, anything but this pathetic, broken honesty. Get out, I spit, my voice trembling. Get out of my town. Get out of my life. If I ever see you again, I will finish what I started. I turn my back on him, the same way he turned his back on me 3 years ago. The symmetry is bitter, unsatisfying. I walk out of the alley, leaving him in his darkness, and I do not look back. I walk straight to Liam's shop. The door is splintered but holding. He opens it, his face etched with worry. He sees the look on my face, the blood on my knife, the tremor in my hands. Alara, what happened? Are you hurt? He asks, his hands hovering near me, wanting to comfort. I look at him, at his kind face and his safe chamomile scent, and I feel nothing. Only a vast, roaring emptiness where my rage had been. The confrontation with Kaelin has ripped open the old wound, and it is bleeding all over again. The quiet life I had built for myself lies in ruins. I have to go, I say, my voice distant. I can't stay here. Go where? Liam asks, his voice laced with confusion and hurt. Alara, what is it? He reaches for me then, and the moment his skin touches mine, I recoil. It is not the jolt of electricity I feel with Kaelin. It is just warm. It is not enough. My wolf, agitated and furious, growls, not mate. And for the first time, I know she is right. Liam's kindness is a gentle harbor, but my soul is a storm-tossed ship, and it is being pulled by an inescapable, destructive tide back towards the man who is both the storm and the shore. I cannot stay. Staying here means choosing the quiet life, the safe life. It means pretending I did not just feel the ghost of a bond I thought was dead. It means ignoring the fact that the man who ruined me is here, and that the fate of the entire kingdom might rest on what happens between us. Liam sees the decision in my eyes. The hurt on his face is a fresh pain I am not equipped to deal with. It's him, isn't it? He asks quietly. The beggar. I saw the way you defended him. There's something between you. I cannot deny it. I just shake my head, unable to form the words. He gives me a sad, knowing smile. His goodness is a rebuke to all the darkness I am feeling. I always knew I was just keeping a place warm, Ilara. You deserve a love that consumes you. I can only offer one that comforts you. Go, do what you must. He steps back, giving me the space I need. Just know that you are not the weak, rejected girl you think you are. You are the strongest person I have ever met. Don't let him make you forget that again. His words are a gift, a final act of kindness. I give him a single, grateful nod, then turn and walk away from him, from my small shack, from the only home I have known for 3 years. I walk back to the alley. It is empty. Kalen is gone. But the scent of pine and grief lingers, a ghostly trail leading out into the darkness. And with a heart full of rage and a soul full of conflict, I follow it. Darkness is my kingdom now, and her scent is the only landmark within it. I stumble away from Dust Haven, her final words echoing in the hollow chambers of my heart. Get out. It is what I deserve. I have no right to be in her town, to breathe her air. I am a blight, a walking reminder of her deepest pain. My wolf, or the faint memory of him, is a dull, throbbing ache. He offers no guidance, only a constant low hum of misery. Lost her. Again. I do not get far. The adrenaline from the fight has faded, leaving behind a bone-deep exhaustion and the gnawing pain of my own worthlessness. My legs give out, and I collapse at the base of a rocky outcropping a few miles from the town. This is it. This is where I die, cast out by my mate for a second time, alone in the dark. It is a fitting end, but I do not die. Instead, I hear footsteps, soft, sure, and terrifyingly familiar. I smell wildflowers and rain, now laced with the sharp metallic scent of her anger. She found me. I push myself up, trying to find some remnant of the king I once was, but there is nothing left. I am just a blind man in rags, waiting for his judgment. I told you to go, I say, my voice hoarse. The Umbra are a plague, she says, her voice cold and distant, as if she is discussing the weather. They are coming from the south, from the Shadowfen. That was Forlog's territory, before he usurped you. He is controlling them. It is not a question. It is a statement of fact. Her intelligence, her perception, it stuns me. Yes, I admit, he always dabbled in the old dark magics. I thought it was just a passing fancy. I was a fool. He is destroying the kingdom. The people are suffering. The land is dying. She pauses and I can feel her gaze on me, dissecting me. And you are the only one who knows his weaknesses. You are the only one who knows the secret ways into the capital, the passages beneath the throne room. I understand then. This is not about us. This is not about forgiveness or revenge. This is about the kingdom. She is not here as my rejected mate. She is here as a pragmatist, a survivor who sees a tool she can use. The realization is both a relief and a fresh torment. She doesn't want me. She needs me. You want an alliance? I state, the words tasting like ash. I want to stop him, she corrects, her tone sharp. You are a means to an end, nothing more. You will guide me to the capital. You will tell me everything you know about Vorleg's power. In exchange, she pauses, and the air grows heavy with unspoken possibilities. I will not kill you where you sit. It is the cruelest, most perfect bargain. She is offering me a chance to atone, not for her, but for my kingdom. She is offering me a purpose beyond sitting in an alley and waiting to die. And she is doing it while holding a knife to the throat of my soul. And when it is over, I ask, my voice barely a whisper, what happens to me then? When it is over, you will be free to disappear, she says, her voice devoid of emotion. I will have my home back, a kingdom not ruled by a monster. And you will have paid some small part of your debt. Then we will be finished. Finished. The word is a final nail in the coffin of my hope. But it is more than I deserve. To walk with her, to hear her voice, to be a part of her world for even a short time, it is a gift, a painful, agonizing gift. I accept, I say. My voice is steady, but my entire being is trembling. Thus begins our journey. It is a pilgrimage of silence and tension. She is the leader, the protector, the eyes. I am the guide, the burden, the ghost. She describes the landscape to me in clipped, precise terms, and I navigate by memory and the feel of the land beneath my feet. We travel by night, avoiding the main roads, which are patrolled by Vorlag's guards and the occasional Umbra pack. She is magnificent. I listen to her breathe, to the quiet confidence in her stride. I smell the sweat on her skin, the focus in her scent. She is no longer the timid girl from the Great Hall. She is a warrior forged in the fires I lit. She hunts for us, her movements silent and deadly. She protects us, her knife a blur of motion in the dark. I am utterly dependent on her, a reversal of roles so complete it is dizzying. One night, we are ambushed by a larger group of Umbra than we have ever seen. They surround us in a clearing, their violet eyes glowing in the dark. Elara fights with a ferocity that takes my breath away, but there are too many. I hear her cry out in pain, and the sound rips through me. Instinct, buried and broken, surges through me. I may be blind, I may be wolfless, but I was trained as a warrior from birth. I grab a fallen branch and I stand back to back with her, a mirror of the moment in the alley. I cannot see, so I rely on sound and scent. I smell the foul dust of them, hear the skittering of their claws. I swing my club, connecting with something solid. I am a king again, if only for a moment, defending my Luna. We fight, we bleed, and somehow we win. When the last creature dissolves, we collapse, gasping for air. Ilara has a deep gash on her arm. I can smell her blood, a scent that drives me half mad with the need to protect, to heal. I need to bind that, I say, my voice urgent. I can manage, she says, her voice tight with pain. No, I insist, my voice taking on a shade of the command it once held. Let me. She hesitates, then gives a reluctant sigh. I tear a strip from my own filthy tunic. My hands, guided by the sound of her breathing and the heat of her skin, find her arm. My fingers brush against her flesh, and the jolt is more powerful than ever. It is a live wire. I wrap the wound, my touch as gentle as I can make it. For a few precious seconds, I am tending to my mate. It is the closest I have come to grace in 3 years. You're fighting, she says, her voice quiet in the darkness. You are not just a beggar. I was not always blind, I reply, my hand still lingering near her arm. The silence stretches. We are close, closer than we have been since we started this journey. The anger in her scent is muted, replaced by exhaustion and a reluctant curiosity. This is my chance, my only chance. I have to tell her. Not the excuses, but the truth. I drop to my knees. The movement is not hard. It feels right. It feels necessary. The rocky ground bites into my flesh, a fitting penance. Ilara, I begin, my voice thick with unshed tears. What I did to you, there is no excuse. There is no apology that can unbreak what I broke, but you deserve to know why. She says nothing, but I feel her tense, her entire body becoming a shield. I was a coward, I say, the words tearing from me. I was a boy playing at being a king, terrified of the legends I had to live up to. My father taught me that emotion was weakness, that a mate was a tool for power. When the bond chose you, all I saw was what he would have seen, a vulnerability, a soft place in my armor. I was afraid. Afraid of my enemies, afraid of my own court. But most of all, I was afraid of the depth of what I felt for you in that one single moment. It was too much. It would have unmade me, so I tried to unmake it first. I take a deep, shuddering breath. The shame is a physical thing, clawing at my throat. I chose pride over my own soul. I chose the throne over my mate, and my punishment was to lose them both, to lose my sight, my wolf, my kingdom, to be left with nothing but the memory of your scent and the knowledge of what I had thrown away. There is not a day, not an hour, that I do not feel the weight of my sin. When you found me in that alley, it was not a coincidence. It was a judgment. The goddess gave me a front row seat to witness the magnificent woman you became, not because of me, but in spite of me. I bow my head, my forehead nearly touching the ground. My throat is bare. My life is in her hands, as it should be. I am not asking for your forgiveness. I have no right to it. I am not asking you to choose me. I am only asking that you believe this. The man who rejected you is dead. He died in that great hall, poisoned by his own pride. I am what is left, and what is left will serve you until my last breath, whether you claim me or cast me aside. My life is yours to command or to end. The silence that follows is the most profound I have ever known. It is heavier than my blindness, deeper than my grief. I wait for her judgment, for the cold steel of her knife or the colder finality of her footsteps walking away forever. I have laid my shattered soul at her feet. All that is left is to see if she will step on it, or if, by some miracle I do not deserve, she will offer me a single sliver of grace. The silence in the clearing is absolute, broken only by the whisper of the wind through the skeletal trees and the ragged sound of Kalen's breathing. He remains on his knees before me, a fallen king offering his throat to the Omega he discarded. His confession hangs in the air between us, heavy and raw. Every word was a stone dropped into the deep, still waters of my pain, sending ripples through years of carefully constructed defenses. He was afraid. He was a coward. He didn't say it to absolve himself, but to explain himself. And the distinction matters. My wolf, a creature of pure instinct, is in turmoil. The scent of his submission, his genuine, soul-deep remorse, is a powerful balm, ours. He knows. He grovels. She wants me to accept, to lean down and claim him, to heal the rift between us and make them whole. But my human heart, the one that remembers the sting of public shame and the gnawing loneliness of exile, is not so easily swayed. Trust is a fortress, and mine was razed to the ground. He cannot rebuild it with words alone. I look at the gash on my arm, now crudely but effectively bandaged. We fought together. Back to back, we survived together. A fragile, dangerous thought takes root in my mind. We are stronger together. Vorlog and his shadow plague are a threat too great for one of us alone. My desire for justice for my kingdom is at war with my desire for justice for myself. Get up, I say, my voice flat. It is not forgiveness. It is not acceptance. It is a command. He obeys instantly, rising to his feet but keeping his head bowed. He does not presume to meet my gaze, even though he cannot see me. He is waiting for his sentence. Your confession changes nothing. I lie, my voice colder than I feel. We have a goal. We will see it through. After that, we are finished. I need him to believe it. I need to believe it myself. If he thinks there is a chance for redemption, he might be fighting for the wrong reasons. He needs to fight for the kingdom, not for me. A flicker of something, pain, resignation, crosses his face before he masks it. As you command, he murmurs. His submission is absolute. The power shift is complete. I am the alpha in this twisted pack of two. We continue our journey toward the capital. The dynamic has changed. The silence is no longer just tense. It is filled with the unspoken weight of his confession. He is relentlessly attentive to my needs, even in his blindness. He can tell by the sound of my footsteps if I am tiring. He can smell the tension in me when we are near danger. He is a shadow at my back, a shield I did not ask for but have come to rely on. We reach the foothills of the Dragon's Tooth Mountains, the last major barrier before the capital city of Ashenfall. The secret path, Kaelin knows, is a treacherous goat trail, barely wide enough for one person. I lead, my hand gripping the cold rock face, and he follows, his hand resting lightly on my shoulder. His touch is a constant brand of heat through the fabric of my tunic. Every point of contact is a spark, a reminder of the bond that hums beneath the surface, damaged but not dead. One night, we take shelter in a shallow cave, a biting wind howling outside. We have run out of food, and the cold is seeping into our bones. I am shivering, my teeth chattering, despite my cloak. Kaelin is unnaturally still beside me. "You are cold," he states, his voice low. "I am fine," I say, my pride a thin shield against the chill. "You are not," he counters gently. "I may be blind, but I can feel you trembling. The bond. It tells me." His mention of the bond is a deliberate risk. He is testing the waters. I should be angry, but I am too cold, too tired to summon the energy. "Your body heat. As an alpha, it runs higher," he continues, his voice careful. "If you would permit it, I could share my warmth." He is asking permission to get closer, a courtesy he would never have dreamed of 3 years ago. It is a choice. He is giving me the power. My wolf is practically purring. Warmth, mate. My logical mind screams that it is a trap, a manipulation, but my shivering body betrays me. I give a short, sharp nod before realizing he cannot see it. "Fine," I bite out, but nothing more. "Of course," he says, his voice full of a relief that is almost painful to hear. He shifts closer, turning his back to the cave entrance to shield me from the wind. He doesn't wrap his arms around me. He simply sits near enough that the radiant heat from his body envelops me. It is like standing near a furnace. The shivering begins to subside. The scent of pine and his unique personal scent, freed from the grime of the alley, fills my senses. It is intoxicating. It feels like coming home. I hate it. I hate how my body relaxes against my will. I hate how the instinct to lean into his warmth is almost overpowering. I fight it, keeping myself rigid. But as the hours pass and exhaustion claims me, my head eventually lolls to the side, coming to rest on his shoulder. I jerk awake, horrified, but he doesn't move. He doesn't speak. He just continues to be my shield against the cold, his entire body rigid with the effort of not reacting, not taking more than I have given. He is holding his breath. He is terrified of scaring me away, and in his terror, I see the proof of his change more clearly than I did in his confession. The next morning, we wake to a world blanketed in snow. The path is gone. We are trapped, and our meager supplies are gone. Despair, cold and sharp, nips at my heels. "I will hunt," I say, my voice determined. "In this?" Kaelin asks, his head tilted as if he can hear the thick silence of the snowfall. "You will be lost in minutes." "We have no choice," I snap. "There is another way," he says slowly. "A passage, through the mountain. The old kings used it. It is dangerous, filled with traps, but it will lead us directly into the dungeons of the Citadel. And you know how to navigate it? Blind? I ask, incredulous. I walked it 100 times with my father. I know every step, every turn. I can do it, he says, his voice firm with a sliver of his old authority. But I cannot do it alone. I will need to be your eyes, and you will need to be my hands and feet. We must trust each other. Completely. Trust. There it is. The final test. To follow a blind man into the darkness beneath a mountain, trusting him with my life. It is an insane proposition. It is also our only hope. Show me the way, I say, the words feeling like a surrender and a declaration of war all at once. The entrance is hidden behind a curtain of frozen vines. The air that breathes from it is stale and ancient. He guides me with words, his hand once again on my shoulder. 3 steps forward. Feel for a loose stone on the left wall. Press it. I do as he says. A section of the rock groans and slides open, revealing a yawning blackness. We step inside. The darkness is absolute, a physical presence. My wolf-enhanced senses are useless here. I am as blind as he is. But he is not. In this place, his memory is sight. Walk beside me, he commands softly. Take my hand. I hesitate for a heartbeat. Then my fingers find his. His hand is large and warm, and it closes around mine with a possessive strength that sends a shiver through me. This time, I do not pull away. In the crushing dark of the mountain's belly, his touch is my only anchor. We are no longer alpha and subordinate. We are 2 halves of a whole, navigating a world that wants to kill us. And as we take our first steps into the earth, I realize with a terrifying clarity that our fates are now irrevocably intertwined. Whether this path leads to the salvation of our kingdom or our mutual destruction, we will face it together. The darkness of the tunnel is a living thing. It presses in from all sides, swallowing sound, stealing breath. My hand in Kalen's is my only connection to reality. His grip is firm, steady. He is the anchor in this subterranean sea. The floor will dip here, he murmurs, his voice a low vibration that travels up my arm. There is a pressure plate 3 paces ahead on the right. Step over it. I follow his instructions to the letter. My survival depends on his memory, his senses translated into words. He navigates the treacherous path with an eerie certainty, calling out tripwires, deadfalls, and poison dart traps I would never have seen, even in the light. He is not just remembering a path, he is reliving it. He is more at home in this absolute blackness than I am. We walk for what feels like days. We talk, not of the past, but of the present, of the mission. I describe the Umbra, their movements, their scent of decay. He listens, and from my descriptions, he pieces together Vorlag's strategy. He is not just controlling them, Kalen says, his voice grim. He is breeding them, fusing shadow magic with wolf bodies. That is why they seem familiar, yet wrong. They are abominations, perversions of our kind. He pauses, his grip tightening on my hand. The heart of his power will be in the throne room. There is a ley line convergence directly beneath the ashen throne. He will be using it as an arcane forge. His knowledge is terrifying and essential. The boy who was afraid has been replaced by a strategist, a king thinking of his people even without a crown. My respect for him grows, a reluctant but stubborn weed pushing through the cracks of my anger. We finally see a sliver of light, a faint gray line in the distance. It is a grate, leading into the Citadel's dungeons. We have made it. As we approach, Kalen stops. Vorlag will be expecting me, he says. But he will be expecting the king he knew. Proud, arrogant. He will not be expecting this. He gestures to his blindfolded eyes, his tattered clothes. He will not be expecting you. He will underestimate us. I finish, understanding dawning. He will underestimate you. Kalen corrects, his voice soft but intense. He turns to me, his blind face searching for mine in the gloom. Alara, when we get up there, you are the alpha. I will follow your lead. My knowledge is yours. My strength is yours. But the decisions must be yours. The kingdom deserves a leader who has earned it, not one who was born to it and threw it away. He is anointing me. He is handing me the power, the responsibility, the crown he lost. It is the final piece of his grovel, more powerful than kneeling, more meaningful than any apology. He is not just trying to win me back. He is trying to make me the ruler he should have been. I look at him, at the sincerity etched on his face, the raw hope in his scent. The fortress around my heart develops a crack, just a small one. We will do this together, I say, and for the first time, it does not feel like a lie. We push the grate open and slip into the dungeons. The air is cold and damp, smelling of mildew and fear. We move through the shadows, Kalen's knowledge of the guards' patrol routes guiding us. We ascend through the servants' passages, ghosts in our own home. The closer we get to the throne room, the stronger the oppressive feeling of dark magic becomes. The very stones of the castle feel sick, corrupted. The doors to the great hall are open. We peer inside. The scene is a desecration. The proud banners of the packs have been torn down, replaced with black tapestries bearing Vorlag's twisted sigil. In the center of the room, standing before the ashen throne, is Vorlag himself. He is no longer the handsome, charismatic general I remember. His skin is pale, his eyes glowing with the same violet light as the umbra. He is chanting, his hands held over the throne, which pulses with a sickening dark energy. Around him, a dozen of his personal guard, their faces blank and their eyes hollow, stand watch. And beside the throne, chained, is the largest umbra I have ever seen. A monstrosity of shadow and rage. He is completing the ritual, Kalen whispers, his voice tight with horror. He is trying to bond himself to the ley line, to become a god. We have to stop him, I say, my hand going to my knife. He is too powerful head-on, Kalen counters. We need a diversion. His face sets with a grim resolve. I will be the diversion. Before I can protest, he steps out from the shadows into the light of the hall. Vorlag! He calls out, his voice ringing with a phantom echo of his old power. Vorlag stops chanting. He turns, a slow, arrogant movement. A cruel smile spreads across his face when he sees Kalen. The blind king returns to his kennel. I wondered when you would crawl out of whatever hole you were hiding in. Your reign of terror is over, brother, Kalen says, standing tall. He is a king again, even in rags. Vorlag laughs, a harsh grating sound. My reign is just beginning. He gestures to the monstrous umbra. Meet my new royal guard. An improvement, I think. They are much more loyal. As Vorlag's attention is fixed on Kalen, I slip along the wall, a shadow among shadows. My target is the throne. If I can disrupt the flow of energy, I might be able to break the ritual. You came alone, Vorlag sneers, taking a step toward Kalen. Foolish. You were always weak. He is not alone, I say, stepping from behind a pillar, my knife at the ready. Vorlag's eyes widen in genuine shock. He looks from me to Kalen and back again, confusion warring with his arrogance. The Omega? You brought your little rejected pet with you? This is your grand plan? The insult, which once would have shattered me, now fuels my resolve. Kalen moves to stand slightly in front of me, a protective gesture that speaks volumes. It is his final proof of change. He is no longer hiding behind his power. He is using his very body to shield me. She is no pet, Kalen growls, his voice a low threat. She is your queen. Vorlag's face twists in fury. Kill them, he snarls at his guards, but bring me the girl. I will find a use for her. The guards advance, their movements jerky, unnatural. Kalen and I stand back to back once more. But as the first guard reaches us, the monstrous Umbra lets out a deafening roar. It breaks its chains with a surge of shadowy power and lunges, not for us, but for Kalen. It has his scent. It wants the alpha. Kalen! I scream. He turns just as the beast is upon him. He cannot see it, but he can hear it, smell it. He raises his arms to defend himself, but he is too slow. The Umbra's claws, made of solidified darkness, rake across his chest. He cries out, a sound of pure agony, and crumples to the floor. The world goes red. A primal, possessive rage, unlike anything I have ever felt, consumes me. My wolf, my dormant, quiet wolf, awakens. Not with a whisper, but with a tidal wave of silver fire. Mate, hurt, kill. The pain of Kalen's injury floods the bond, a searing torrent that ignites my own latent power. Silver light erupts from my body, pushing the guards back. My senses explode. I can see the flow of the dark magic, the life force in every living thing, the fear in Vorlag's eyes. My heritage, the blood of a rare lunar wolf, a line thought to be extinct, has finally, fully awakened. I look at Kalen, bleeding out on the floor. His life is draining away. I have a choice. I can use this newfound power to destroy Vorlag, to save the kingdom, or I can use it to save Kalen. The grovel is over. The test is here. My mind remembers the pain he caused me. My heart remembers the man he has become. My soul only knows one truth. I kneel beside him, ignoring the battle, ignoring Vorlag's shocked face. I place my hands on his chest, on the grievous wound. The silver light of my power flows from me into him. I accept this bond. I whisper, the words a sacred vow. I accept you, Kalen of the Ashen Throne. All of you, the broken and the whole. The bond, damaged and frayed, snaps into place, not as a thread, but as a brilliant, blindingly bright river of pure energy. It is a torrent of shared pain, shared history, and shared hope. My lunar magic pours into him, knitting flesh, staunching blood. But it does more than that. It burns away the last vestiges of the dark curse. Kalen's eyes, scarred and closed for 3 years, snap open, and they are no longer molten gold. They are his, but they are new, flecked with the silver of my moonlight. He can see. The first thing he sees is my face. Ilara, he breathes, his voice full of a wonder so profound it brings tears to my eyes. He is healed. We are whole. And now we are one. We rise together, his hand finding mine, our fingers lacing. His alpha power, now unchained and singing in harmony with my lunar magic, radiates from him. Vorlag takes a step back, his arrogance finally cracking to reveal the fear beneath. He is no longer facing a blind king and a rejected Omega. He is facing a bonded pair, an alpha and his Luna, united and complete, and we are here to reclaim our throne. The power that crackles between Kalen and me is a living storm. My silver moonlight intertwines with his golden alpha aura, creating a light that forces the shadows to recoil. Borlag stares, his face a mask of disbelief and terror. He has lost. He just doesn't know it yet. Impossible, he hisses, raising his hands. The curse was absolute. You should have known, Vorlog, Kalen says, his voice a low, rumbling growl that vibrates through the very stones of the hall. No darkness can extinguish a bond blessed by the goddess herself. You only delayed the inevitable. The monstrous Umbra, momentarily stunned by the flash of light, recovers and lets out another furious roar. It charges, a mountain of rage and shadow. But this time, we are ready. We move as one, a single entity with two bodies. I raise my hand, and a barrier of solid moonlight springs into existence, stopping the beast in its tracks. It slams against the wall of light, which holds firm, sizzling where it touches the creature's dark form. Kalen surges forward, moving with a speed and grace I have never seen. He is no longer just a king. He is a force of nature, unleashed. He plucks a sword from the hands of a stunned guard, the steel singing as his power flows into it. He engages Vorlag, their blades crashing together in a shower of sparks, gold against violet. I focus on the true source of the problem, the Umbra. My wolf is singing in my veins, guiding me. Sever the tie. Unmake him. I realize Vorlag is not just controlling the beast. He has poured a piece of his own life force into it. The monster is his anchor to the dark magic. To defeat him, I must first unmake his creation. I drop my barrier and extend my hands towards the beast. Silver tendrils of my lunar power lash out, wrapping around the Umbra. It writhes and shrieks, the sound an unholy cacophony. I am not attacking it. I am cleansing it. My magic seeks out the wolf spirit trapped within the shadow, the unwilling heart of the monster. I pull, not with force, but with empathy, offering it a peace it has never known. The beast howls, a long, mournful sound that is less rage and more grief. The shadows begin to peel away from its form like smoke, dissolving into nothingness. Its violent violet eyes soften, fading to a terrified animal brown. Before us stands not a monster, but a massive, terrified wolf, its fur matted with shadow residue. It gives me one last grateful look before collapsing, its spirit finally free. It dissolves into a soft gray dust that smells of freedom. Forlog screams in agony as his connection to the beast is severed. The feedback of our bond magic breaking his profane creation throws him back, away from Kalen. He stumbles, clutching his chest, the violet light in his eyes flickering violently. He has lost his anchor. It's over, I say, my voice ringing with quiet authority. Kalen comes to stand beside me, his sword held loosely at his side. We face him together, a united front. Never! Vorlog snarls, his face contorting with madness. He raises his hands and draws all the remaining dark energy from the throne into himself. His body convulses, growing larger, his skin cracking and turning to a stone-like gray. If I cannot be a god, I will be a demon. He lunges, no longer a wolf, but a hulking, horned creature of pure malice. But he is chaos, and we are order. He is brute force, and we are perfect harmony. Kalen meets his charge, his sword a blur of gold. I am right behind him, weaving shields of moonlight to deflect the monster's flailing claws, sending out bolts of silver energy to harry its flanks. We do not need to speak. The bond connects us, mind to mind, soul to soul. I know his every move before he makes it, and he knows mine. Finally, Kalen sees his opening. I create a momentary cage of hard light around one of the creature's legs, causing it to stumble. In that instant of imbalance, Kalen drives his sword straight through the monster's corrupted heart. There is a terrible, silent implosion. The dark energy that made up Vorlug's form collapses in on itself, and with a final, pathetic whimper, he is gone. All that remains is a pile of black dust on the floor of the Great Hall, which is then swept away by a clean, fresh breeze that seems to blow from nowhere. Silence descends. The few remaining guards, freed from Vorlog's mental control, drop their weapons and fall to their knees, their faces filled with confusion and awe. The oppressive, sickly feeling that had permeated the castle is gone, replaced by a clean, hopeful calm. Kalen turns to me. The raw emotion in his eyes is overwhelming. He takes my face in his hands, his touch reverent. Ilara, he whispers, as if my name is a prayer. You saved me. You saved us all. We saved each other, I reply, my voice thick. I place my hand over his on my cheek. The connection between us is a steady, warm hum, a quiet song of belonging. There is no more pain, no more doubt, only this, only us. He leans in and kisses me. It is not a kiss of frantic passion or desperate relief. It is a kiss of homecoming. It is the sealing of a vow, the final piece of a puzzle clicking into place. It is quiet and deep and holds the promise of 1,000 tomorrows. When we break apart, the world feels new, reborn. 3 months later, I stand on the balcony of the Great Hall, looking out over a healing kingdom. The sun is warm on my face. Kalen stands behind me, his arms wrapped around my waist, his chin resting on my shoulder. His presence is a constant, comforting weight. He is no longer the arrogant king or the broken beggar. He is just Kalen, my mate, my partner. We ruled together. His knowledge of statecraft and my connection to the people and the land have proven to be a powerful combination. We are not just a king and his queen. We are two halves of the crown. The pack elders who once scorned me now bow to me, their respect earned not by my title, but by my actions. I am no longer Ilara the rejected. I am Luna Ilara, the moon's blessed. Kalen's sight is a permanent gift from our bond. His eyes will forever be flecked with the silver of my magic, a constant reminder of our shared journey. He often says it is his favorite feature, for it allows him to see the world, not just as it is, but as it is touched by my light. The scars of our past remain. There is a fine, silvery line across his chest where the Umbra struck him, and there is a scar on my soul where his rejection once burned. They do not hurt anymore. They are just a part of our story, a reminder of the price of our happiness. They prove that our bond was not simply fated, but forged. Forged in pain, tempered by suffering, and finally claimed through forgiveness and a love that was strong enough to survive being broken. What are you thinking about? Kalen's voice is a soft rumble against my ear. His scent, that beloved pine and ozone, now mingled with the scent of me, of home, wraps around me like a cloak. I was thinking about a blind beggar in an alley, I say softly, and the girl who gave him her last coin. He tightens his arms around me, pressing a kiss to my temple. He is grateful to her every day, he murmurs. She taught him that the greatest strength is not found on a throne, but in an act of kindness. She taught him how to be a man worthy of being her king. I turn in his arms, my hand coming up to cup his jaw. I look into his silver-flecked golden eyes and see my own reflection. I see a survivor, a warrior, a queen. I see a woman who is whole, not because a king chose her, but because she chose herself first. And then, from a position of absolute strength, she chose him. My wolf purrs in contentment, her head resting against his in the space between our souls. Ours. Forever. And for the first time, my human heart is in perfect, blissful agreement. We are scarred, yes, but we are whole. And our story, once a tragedy of rejection, has become a legend of redemption, an anthem of a love that was not only found, but truly, deeply earned.